tomorrow night, but also we've got you've visited with Josh and Faye Butler, I think, on
Yes.
Zoom here.
They're leaving, right?
Yeah, they left
Oh, left. Okay.
Sunday morning. They flew out to San Francisco. Then from San Francisco tomorrow night, but from San Francisco, then they flew to there we go, to Kuala Lumpur, or no, to Qatar. That was a 15-hour flight.
Wow.
And then they flew from Qatar to Kuala Lumpur, and they left about an hour ago now.
Yeah.
About an hour ago, they took off the last humanitarian flight from Kuala Lumpur into PNG for the year. There may be more, but they have no more scheduled or planned. This is supposed to be the last one of the year. So they're right now en route to PNG. And then when they get there, they're going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks at the base. They have to stay in a house. They have to stay away from all the other missionaries. But there's a lot of missionaries. I think if everybody made that flight to PNG, the missionaries just that they knew with NTM, I think there was like 35 of them returning there. But then they also ran into some YWAM missionaries, I think, that were actually heading to PNG too for work. So yeah, there were quite a few missionaries. And they said on the Qatar to Kuala Lumpur flight, they were guessing from talking to people that like 70% of the people on the flight were missionaries returning to their fields. So yeah. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to share this. So we're not going to be down on those verses quite. We're not going to be down on those exercises quite yet, but we'll get to them eventually. Okay, are we ready? We're not ready here.
The mission field is going to Missouri.
Yeah, it's going to go in a shipping container, Josh said. Yeah. Oh, okay. We can do that. We're going to Moses. She's taking me out for burgers for my birthday. So, yeah, Michael's Bistro. Oh, did I just give an advertisement?
Yes, you did. Good food.
Yeah. Okay. Lesson 10, exercise book. We're not going to review the vocabulary, but we're going to, my goal is in the time we have left to try to get through all these first exercises, and then we'll try to do at least maybe get 2 of the sentences in. So anyway, so I'm going to do the tedious job of reading through these exercises, and I'm going to let you answer questions in there. So 10.1b, first one there. Note the conjunctions gar and hati. Gar is a
Postpositive.
postpositive, good, which means that it normally appears as the second word of a sentence or clause, but it is translated as the first word of the given clause or sentence. Occasionally, gar stands as the third word of a sentence or clause, and on some rare occasions in classical Greek, gar appears as the 8th word.
Oh my goodness.
Hati is used with the infinitive to express direct discourse, which we mentioned that.
Just to clarify, when they say that, does it mean it could be anywhere between third and the 8th word, or it means it would be the third or the 8th?
No,
Count?
it can appear as far back as the 8th word. And the main reason for that is if you've got like, let's say you've got a phrase where you've got an article and an adjective and a noun, it may appear after all of that group together, okay? Why it would occur 8th, I don't know. I can't imagine how complex that would be at the beginning of all that, but it is. And I only have one classical Greek grammar, and I've cracked it about 30 years ago, and that's the last time. Probably could take it off my...
Classical Greek?
What?
This is called classical Greek.
No, I have one classical Greek grammar. No, this is Koine Greek. Yeah. Okay. Number 2 there, demonstrative pronouns modify nouns, both expressed or implied, by specifying the noun as either this or that, and these or those. Demonstrative pronouns like adjectives, when they modify a noun, must agree with the noun in case, number, and gender. So, hutas, haute, and tuta are the three nominative singular forms, masculine, feminine, neuter, respectively, of the
Near
demonstrative.
demonstrative.
So they point to a person or thing near at hand. So we would say this or these. A kainos, a kaine, and a kaina are the three nominative singular forms, again, masculine, feminine, neuter, respectively, for the far remote demonstrative.
Far or remote demonstrative.
Yes. Pointing to a person or thing far removed. So we say that or those. Note that the nominative singular neuter endings of the near, tuta, and the far, akaina demonstratives, these demonstrative forms have the ending
Omicron.
omicron appended to the stem, whereas the nominative singular neuter adjective has,
A new.
would have omicron new at the end, appended to the
Just
stem.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah, so it's shorter. They're just trying to point out as close as this matches our other adjectives and pronouns and such, here's the place where it's different. That's what they're trying to help you to recognize. The next one, endings of hutas follow the first and second declension of nouns, except for the variation of the,
Nominative and accusative singular neuter.
there you go. Very good. Nominative and accusative singular neuter. Where there is an alpha or eta in the ending of the demonstrative, the stem will be
Alpha, alpha and upsilon.
upsilon. Yeah. And where there is an O sounding vowel in the ending, the stem will be
Omicron upsilon.
omicron upsilon. Very good. The forms of a kainos or more regular and follow the first and second declension nouns, except in the nominative and accusative singular neuter where the,
New is absent.
yeah, that's right. Demonstrative pronouns are often used as
Substantives.
substantives.
I don't want to be the one answering. If Robin wants to chime in, she can.
We're cheering on, cheering on.
We're
Oh,
good.
okay.
Substantives and they stand alone. Now they say, remember to place the implied noun. So you're going to have to put a noun. So if you're going to have, when you're going to do this, if you have this, so if you had hutas, you'd say this man. I had haute, it would be this woman, unless there's something else in the context that clearly it's referring to, like this church or something like that. But put that in parentheses so you know that it's actually not part of the original text. When you
Right. I have a question on that though, because there's one of the exercises that we did hit that where I got to that point. It was on exercise 6. And do we still translate it with, I mean, when we do translate it, do we put man? I know you put it in parentheses, but we would translate with this man, right? When we do translate it? Because there's a predicate complement there with after esteem, and it says this man is a man of the world. That's how I got it. But I don't know if you have to keep saying this man, and then but that man is a man of the kingdom of Christ. I don't know if that man is of the kingdom of Christ. I don't know how many times you got to say man.
Right. Yeah. Let's put it this way, because the word man is repeated in the second clause.
Mhm.
I would translate it. Yeah,
Okay.
make it represented.
Okay.
Probably if you didn't have man in the second one, you probably could say, but that, I would translate it, but that one. So if the
Right.
first,
So I translated it because of that, what it says in 10 through 8, it just put it in parentheses and it did say it there, anthropos, it's a predicate complement to estin, right? And so I figured they probably want to say it.
yeah, but you don't have to put man in parentheses here because man actually occurs in the
Is
Greek.
there, right.
You're only
So I was talking about the demonstratives. The demonstratives is this man or that man.
right. but you don't, but in both of those cases, you don't have to do that because you have man in there. So that number 6 would be, this man is of the world, but that man is of Christ's kingdom. So.
See, that's where I got a little bit confused. I mean, we can get to that later.
Yeah.
And the only reason I said that is because anthropos, both times, is the nominative complement or the predicate complement, right? So it's there in the sentence. So that's why maybe they're trying to make emphasis that that man, this man is the man of this, but that man is the man of that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I don't know if that's emphasis or not, but I'm thinking because it's stated, I translated as I put, this man is a man of the world, but that man is a man of the kingdom of Christ. You know, that's how I translated it.
Oh, well, that's actually really interesting. I hadn't even thought about translating it that way. And I didn't look, I have to be real honest. I have not looked at the answers in the back of the book when I'm doing this, but when I was working on these, I actually checked myself on translation a few times because I was like, I'm wondering how they want us to translate that. I was applying what I would normally do for principles. And so Robin just consulted the answer in the back and they just say this one, this is a man of the world. This is a man of the world. Okay. So they translated this is a man of the world since hutos is separate from, so it's not this man. So
I agree with Joe.
But I understand what you're saying, and actually the way
because in what you're stating here on 10.3a is to the implied noun in parentheses is man in this case, in this sentence. So my question is, do we translate it? Do we include it or not? And in other places we do, like this person, this whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I chose to put it in, only because they left anthropos in there as the complement, predicate complement after s, the word eimi, right? The verb eimi needs a predicate complement somewhere.
Yeah. No,
so
go ahead.
So the man, anthropos, is the complement of the man, this man or that man.
I agree. I think that that's a better way to translate it. It follows the principles that they're teaching us in the lesson.
Correct.
Better. So I think that that's a good idea. Okay. Right. So now the top of page 75 in the workbook, 10.3b1. Demonstrative pronouns are frequently used with nouns. They have a force similar to that of an adjective when it modifies a noun. So as we've said, this man or that woman. Demonstrative pronouns never appear with the article immediately preceding them. And then they give you the example, but they often appear to be in the predicate use, which is sort of the situation we were looking at. Or it's actually kind of the flip of that, what we were just looking at over there. Usually this use of demonstrative pronoun is translated as attributive. The noun modified by the demonstrative pronoun is always rendered so specific by the pronoun as to require the definite article. So this man, and not hutas huias. So we don't have that one. That's not the, in other words, you're not going to find that's the second situation in the New Testament. In the Greek language, the neuter plural subject may take a
singular
verb. Okay. And I think we looked at that the other day, didn't we? We're looking at sheep. Yeah, sheep is plural, but with a singular verb. This phenomenon is called schema atticum by grammarians. In other instances, neuter plural subject has a plural verb. So it's not always going to be that way, but you're going to find some that it will. Okay. Any questions on any of those? All clear as mud. No. Good. Yeah. Hopefully it is. Hopefully this makes sense. Okay. So we're going to start down here, and I'm going to let Joe, if you want to start off with exercise 1.
Okay.
Read the Greek, and then translate it for us, and so on.
Okay. Tuto, ha, Thropas, Anoige.
Do it one more time, Joe.
Oh, they want to hear you do it again.
Oh, one more time.
Yes.
Tuto, ha, thrope, Ross, Anoige, kai, ta, probata, tes, bones, autu, akue. Okay. So it's his, I'm just saying his, he opens and the sheep. So I put to him, because at the beginning, the doorkeeper opens and the sheep hear his voice. That's how I have it.
Okay.
Parse the verb.
I'm gonna. The only thing I did different was rather than say to him, I said this one.
This one.
The doorkeeper opens 2 or 4. You could translate that lid form. You could translate it as a 4, as a dative, meaning for his benefit. He opens for the benefit of this one.
For this
I
one.
translated it this one. That's the
So
way I
for
did it.
this one, the doorkeeper opens. Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
And in the
Okay.
context, this one is the shepherd, which I think we looked at that last week because we actually
Okay.
looked at this verse. Okay.
It was after we had signed off from class.
Oh, it was after we'd signed off from class. I hear. That's when we
Okay.
went over and we were looking at these verses. So it wasn't part of the, it wasn't on the
Okay.
record.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. Parse the verb annoy guy. It's a verb, part of speech. It's doorkeeper or thuros is the subject. Annoyed is a stem, is a present active indicative. Third person singular, lexical form annoigo. It says the students should be aware that some verbs take their objects in a case other than the accusative. Akuo usually takes its object in the genitive or accusative cases. C. Probata is the plural subject of akue, a singular ending verb. Explain this phenomenon. So that's back up to what we were talking about as that Greek language, there's the neural plural subjects usually having its verb in the singular, or may take a verb in the singular.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. So when I was just making the comments on that, because I forgot that we talked about this afterwards, is because there was a question on this. And so we actually went over and just looked at the text over there in John 10. And this is where Jesus is, shall we say, telling a parable, sort of himself as being the shepherd. And the shepherd versus the robbers that go up over the wall. So, yeah. Yeah, we don't know who that. Oh, that was one a question I wrote down. I was going to try to answer for Peg, and I didn't get back to that question. I need to see. And I took my sheet out that I.
We'll let you write it down. Only because it's your birthday.
Um, okay, I'll try to remember to look at that. Okay, number 2, Peggy, would you please try to read this one for us? Or read it.
Ente cardia autu kai ugnoskai aran.
Okay.
I read it.
Okay.
He sins in the heart of him and not he knows joy. He sins in his heart, does not.
Okay.
Experiencing.
Does not experience no joy. Very good. Okay, so
Is N used with the locative or instrumental case? I'm just reading the question.
Well, when we look back at in, we translate that he sins, how do we say that?
I
In-
said in.
In his heart.
So,
Yeah, so I think locative. And I always like these questions. State the reason why you translate the preposition in this case.
because that's what locative is.
Right, but I guess what they're wanting to know is why didn't you translate it as an instrumental N?
I think what they're saying is, are we actually translating the preposition? Because without it, they could have left N out and we still could have said
Sure.
in his heart. So why is it there? To
Yeah.
add emphasis.
I think so.
Is that, well, I mean, that's how I answered.
Well, I wrote, it seems to describe the place where he sins, not the means. Because there's quite a few places in the New Testament where N, I would also translate it by or by means of, which is again the same thing if you translate the case instrumental. So yeah, so emphasis is being brought to it by using the preposition.
And it becomes more clear with more context. I mean, this is a sentence that they created. This is not scripture, so we're
Yeah.
not trying to dig deep into what they really mean here.
And that's actually a really good point, because a couple of these sentences, when I was translating them, I'm like, okay, this is what I think their sentence is supposed to be saying, but that is not scripture. that is off. So, in my opinion, I should say.
Why is Haran not the subject of Gnoskai?
I said because it's the object.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Okay.
It's the object.
But
Well,
there's
in case.
it's
Because the accusative case.
Quran is in the accusative case of it's a first declension feminine noun. And accusatives do not function as subjects of verbs. It is, be prepared. They will,
No.
accusatives will function. Come on. They will function as subjects of infinitives, which is just that one form of the verb. And so there's oftentimes you're going to have that. But that's oftentimes because the infinitive is technically kind of functioning as like an object. It's like a verbal object out there. He goes to clean, see? So if you added then a subject of that, then you would put that in there. What?
It's all right. Number C. What is the antecedent of out to? Anybody? I'll say he. How can you be sure? I didn't answer.
I did not actually put he, but that would be correct. I put in the one indicated by the demonstrative pronoun tuto,
Which is he.
which is he. Yes, I know. Yeah,
And it matches in number and gender too, right?
it does. It does.
That's
So
how we
it
can
is.
be sure. Is that what you're saying, Joe?
It does.
Yeah, I said that. It matches in number and gender.
Correct. Okay.
Guess I'll read this one. Tautain tain parabolein acuamen erites ecclesias. Do you want me to read my rough translation and my final?
I think that's a good way to do it. Sure.
Okay. This parable we hear about the church, and we hear this parable about the church.
Okay.
Tautain parabolein has tautain in the. I was really not sure on this, but I said predicate use.
That's correct.
Adjectival. This is
Let's see,
Would you agree?
Where do we even find that word anywhere?
the adjectival use for that.
Yeah, we come across that word.
Like, have we talked about that? Should I know?
Well, we did. It's like what it is. It takes the place of the demonstrative is used similar to an adjective modifying a noun. So if you call it adjectival, that is, but it is a predicate position.
10-3B1.
Thank you.
The demonstrative stands alone in the predicate position.
10-3B1.
So I was right.
I put predicate use as well.
Okay.
It says, yeah, on page 46, frequently demonstratives are used with nouns having a meaning similar to that of an adjective as a modifier.
this construction standing in a predicate position. Not the attributive as one might expect,
Right,
which
matches
is
what we,
adjectival.
right.
Adjectival. Okay.
Write this phrase not translated, this is the parable. I said, because that's not how it works in Greek.
Do you have another answer for us, Joe?
Which one? What are the words? What?
This is 3A. And answer the question, why is this phrase not translated? This is the parable.
It's because of that rule about the predicate or adjectival use. It's the demonstrative doesn't have, again, an article. So that's why I put that. It's because that's why it's this parable based on that ruling, you know?
Yeah. So the long answer, kind of referencing the book, would be that demonstratives in this construction, that is in a predicate adjective construction, function as an adjective, not a predicate adjective. even though it appears in what we have seen previously as a predicate adjective, demonstrative pronouns appear in that construction, but they're not handled that same way. Okay. B.
Why are the words tau, tain, paraboling in the same case, number, and gender? Because they're working together. Is my answer. What case, number, and gender are they in?
They're an accusative singular feminine.
That's correct, Joe. You got anything you want to add there,
Nope.
Pastor Tim? All
Nope.
right.
We're good.
I didn't answer the next question. So, is peri used with the genitive or accusative case in this sentence? Explain your translation of peri in this sentence. Well, we translated the word as about, which is how you can translate it in either of those. But I used it in a concerning way, which is genitive. Correct? Not accusative.
Yep.
So explain your translation. What makes sense?
That's okay. Yeah, no, we're definitely with the genitive case. It tells us that the parable is about, because the genitive, because we have the genitive idea of a modifier, because the genitive functions kind of as a descriptor or modifier of the noun that it's connected to. So this is a parable. What kind of parable? It's a church kind of parable.
I also added that also taste in front of ecclesias is a definite article in a genitive case.
Yeah.
So that also strengthens that argument.
Yeah. So it supports the idea that it's genitive. Yeah.
Correct.
Good job, Joe.
And just as a pointer, a tip on peri, when you're using it with the genitive in this way, it has the idea of, when we're talking about because it's around, there's other ways to state that you're talking about something specifically. But when you use peri with the genitive case, you're usually saying, I'm speaking generally about this, but not necessarily pointedly or specifically about it. So peri indicates something less specificity, let's put it that way. So
you have on the worksheets, it's about and concerning in the general use. So it could be concerning as well, right?
Right.
So I use genitive because of I saw the case, not accusative.
Right.
I saw the case that's input in taste.
Okay, we've got time to do, let's see if we can get a couple more of these in. Number 4, Joe.
Okay. Ice, ton, auton, topon, agomen, tutus, hamartolus, kai, akaina, ta, tekna. So in the rough, I put into the the same or the place, we lead these, the sinners and those children. So I put, we are leading these sinners and those children into the same place.
Good, good.
Wait, slow down.
Hmm.
Same. Autumn? Is that what word we're translating as same?
Yes.
Same.
It's in the book. It says on 9.3c1 that at times the way it is, it's translated as same.
Where?
Yeah.
Say
Where's
again,
that?
9.3c1.
I think it's there, right?
So,
Yeah.
So the pronoun auton, I highlighted it on
Oh,
here.
right there, 93C1. Look
Yeah.
at A, 4A.
Ah.
Yeah.
I searched and searched and searched. I'm like, I don't understand how this hymn is gonna work in here. Okay.
So in A, it says ton, auton, topon has auton in the attributive use modifying the topon or place, meaning same.
Very good.
Thanks, Joe.
So dissect and parse agomen. It's a verb, augment none, stem ag, present active indicative, first person plural, lexical form ago, ending amen, connecting vowel omicron, subject is we. Then says, why does this sentence have the demonstrative pronoun forms tutus and echina with different endings and yet the same use? I put tutus is declined in the second declension plural masculine, and the echina is declined in the second declension plural neuter. That's why it's different endings.
Mhm. Okay. Any questions?
I think that was great.
I have a question on number 5 if we're not going to get to it. But I do have a question on it.
That was my mother. I'm sure she and my dad want to call and sing happy birthday to me, but we're going to silence that call and call them back
You gotta wait,
after
Mom.
class. I'm in the middle of class. Okay, I think we'll do 5, and that should be about it. We might be able to squeeze 6 in, but okay. So Peggy, you want to translate
Read.
or read?
Okay, is there a breathing mark or not?
There is.
Yes, rough.
There is. Okay. Hutas akuaita Evangelion
Very good.
to Kuriu Autukai Kerusai Auta to Lao.
You did it.
I can read it.
Does anybody want to take a shot at translating?
I'll do it if no one has.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, that's where I have a question. Okay, better put. In the rough, it's this man, he hears the gospel of the Lord, his, and he proclaims it to the people. So, but this man hears the gospel or the good news of his Lord and is proclaiming it to the people.
Right.
Is that what you have?
Yeah, that's good. The only difference I made was rather than saying this man, I did this to be gender neutral. I said this person.
Oh, okay.
I have a good translation that they've kind of gone that direction, being a little bit more gender neutral, unless the thing is actually specified very clearly.
So,
Not that I worry about it a lot.
Yeah, it could be neuter, right?
well, why though? Because it says of his Lord.
Well, but I'm just, the reason we're doing that is because most of the time when we have anthropos and we translate it man,
Yeah.
really what we're talking about is mankind. So we're talking about people and persons. And so modern translation is saying, instead of translating it man, if it's possible, translate it person or people to be
So
less gender specific and reserve Andres for a male. Yeah, if that makes sense and it doesn't mess up the context. Translation in the context. I'm not making a big deal about it. I'm just telling
Right,
you why
so-
I did it.
But technically, if we're gonna actually be gender neutral, we're saying.
Oh, sure.
We're saying that this person hears the gospel of their Lord.
Right, it can't be his Lord.
And that
But two, in this case, is his, right?
two is. It is.
No, on the, in front of kurios. Or kurio, the article.
Well, that's just the Lord, his.
Oh, okay.
Okay, is what that is.
Okay,
So
so their Lord.
technically we have two different genitives there. We have the genitive Lord that is modifying gospel and the genitive
Right.
pronoun autu that's modifying Lord. So we have a genitive modifying another genitive. So it's not just anybody's Lord, it's his Lord, and it's not just any gospel, it's the Lord's gospel or the gospel about the Lord. And that's interesting because I fought against that for a long time, because when I went through English in high school and even in college, you had to have agreement of subject and verb. And so as a result, you did not use their. But now that's actually acceptable grammatical usage to use a plural pronoun there with singular verbs.
Well, yeah,
because it's
Well, then,
huge.
wouldn't it then go, if that's the case, instead of out to, shouldn't it therefore then be, if it was to be there specifically, wouldn't it be out tone then?
Well, it would be. That would be grammatically correct.
So
I'm just saying from an
saying-
English point of view, now they're telling us that we can translate that singular unless there's a specific person being spoken of in that context.
The context, okay,
You have
that makes sense.
they're saying use there to be.
If it's in a general, so if there's no preceding context, speaking of a specific person, then you can use there.
So if we want to say this man, here's the good news of his Lord, that's fine with me.
it's
I'm
definitely
just,
less complicated.
I just know that when I've been writing stuff over the last couple of years, I've been kind of trying to be less specific in some.
Well, we would know in the context.
We should, yeah.
We
the
should,
context
right?
Help us, yeah. Anyway, I'm probably making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's good. It's good to discuss that. It's good.
I think so too, but I am gonna fight for it being this man because it has how to, which is his Lord.
Right,
So we're talking about a man, not just a person, not a gender neutral person.
right. I agree. I agree that that's.
So we will preface this so we can agree with everybody's fine, is that we'll preface that since context was, we're assuming that the context doesn't specify a group, then we could say this man in this way.
Yeah, or, if you're just making if you're making a general statement, you can take the masculine in both cases, the masculine of hutas and the masculine of autu. You take both those as masculines and you can translate hutas, this person, and autu there. That's what I'm saying. If you do that, you're just being,
Super politically correct.
I know. And I don't push that a lot, but when I write that, just because I've had a little bit of pushback sometimes when I've written things like that, then people are going, so you're saying that's not true for women? And I'm like, no, but everybody reads things so specifically anymore that I'm trying to avoid getting
I see.
chased.
No, that's good. That's good.
So I never would have read stuff like that when I was growing
When
up.
was this written? They were-
Oh, this is, I
That
think
was written in.
this was in the 90s
Yeah,
when this
so
was done,
was
revised right around
not-
2000. Yeah, we've gotten way carried away with it.
yes.
Okay, so now let's go to number A there. What's the difference between hutas and autu?
Hutas is the accusative masculine of the demonstrative this. Autu is a genitive ablative form of autos. That's the difference.
Okay, go back and do hutas again.
Hutas is, God, really coming wrong. Accusative masculine of this.
Okay, it's not accusative.
What?
It's that, what's the ending?
Hold tight, brah.
Nominative.
It's nominative.
That's what I meant when I said accusative.
Okay.
I always write the wrong one on that one.
She meant what I said.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise that's fine. Yeah, except that we got the case wrong. So-
How are they translated differently? They're different freaking words. This is a stupid question.
Well, you're going to translate the first one, this man, this person, and the how to, you're going to have to translate it to reflect the genitive. I think the only thing I think that they're asking that is they're just really trying to make people think through the mundane aspect of translation, that we can get lazy in translating sometimes and not really think through the hard task. Let's put it this way. Josh and Faye, when they're trying to translate into we've got the benefit that we've got like a zillion English translations that we can consult and see how things are. If you're in another language and they've never had it in their, as they call it, their heart language, it's my sister now.
Which one?
Allie. So
I have a question on number 5 though, on ta evangelion, right?
okay, so let's go to, okay, go ahead.
That's an accusative, right?
It is.
Singular. So
Yeah.
why is it ta? Wouldn't it be ton?
No, because it is what's the gender?
Neuter.
It's
Oh,
neuter.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Okay.
Got it right here. I was looking right at it. Wait, that's wrong. Nope,
So
that's
that
right.
allows it to function as the,
Oh, dear
Oh
Lord.
my goodness.
I'm gonna guess.
We're never having class on your birthday again.
I guess not. So let's go through and
Well, happy birthday.
I'll break this out and then we'll end it. Part of speech. Okay, you can go through it. The phone quit ringing. I went too long.
Who's going through it? Me?
Sure.
Okay. Part of speech. It's a noun. I just questioned myself. Wow. Okay. The case is accusative. Number is singular. Function in the sentence. It is the subject. No. It's the object.
It's object.
Gender. Neuter. Lexical form. Evangelion. Declension. Second.
Second. Okay. What is the case function of to leo in this sentence? Or leo, I should say. Wow.
It's dative. Reception.
It is.
Dative. Dative case.
It's ex-
Case of reception.
That's almost exactly the way I did it. Okay. Well, we will break there.
So you're saying on a neuter you can go evangelion on
Yes.
an accusative?
Yes.
What?
Because if we go back, I don't want to stop. I don't want to end this here until we go back.
Hold on. Repeat the question.
He
I
says,
was just questioning about ta. Why isn't it ton on evangelion as if it's an accusative singular neuter?
because if you go back to page 16, oh, there. Can you see her card there?
16 is ta.
Or just
Anyway, she's got her.
We're
She's
talking about second declension, right?
second, but it's second declension neuter.
So gender determines pronouns. Or sorry.
So why do I have here on page 13
the
of the
gender-
worksheet?
Oh, I
It's
probably
accusative.
might be something I messed up, but hold it up there and let's see.
Right. Can you see it on page 13? I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
On accused.
I just messed it up when I typed it up then.
Okay.
I accidentally, it's my fault. I
So there, I got to take that off. Okay.
I threw a noon in there when I typed it. No, he's looking at my worksheet.
Right here.
I know.
That's your worksheet right there.
Oh,
Okay.
I must have gone back and corrected the
You
worksheet.
did? Oh, I have an old worksheet then.
You have the,
Okay.
you have the old.
I'll reprint this.
Okay,
Page 13 then. Okay.
so yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Corrected yourself, Tim.
Well, I'm going to guess probably one of you pointed out that it was.